Alrighty, this here is one of the newest HBX models. HBX is an awesome budget RC brand. This is the HBX 903A. They now have this brushless version, which they did not have before. Here's all your boxless content, extra body clips, battery charger, controllers, stickers, owner's manual, plus one more battery in the truck. So this has been a very popularly requested truck for me to review. And I definitely know why, because I've had older versions of this thing. It's certainly an all-around great truck. So we are gonna look at a few things here on the bench. Then we're gonna give it a Derby City RC style shakedown, and then we'll see how it did. Purple, orange, and white. There are other options. Here's my blue, red, black, white one. That older model was a brushed version. It was pretty slow, but still really fun. It also didn't come with oil-filled shocks. This one does have oil-filled shocks. They feel relatively well tuned. A brushless motor. We've got headlights, no tail lights. That's okay though. We've got stickers. See, the old versions of this car did have some weak points, and I'm curious to see if maybe those have been fixed. But whether any of those break or not, we will go over the weak points that the old model had, just so you can mentally prepare for the breakage in case that were to happen. There's our extra battery. Both of them are 1600 milliamp hour batteries. You got that famous HBX flexible plastic to help keep things from cracking and snapping. It's got big old beefy juicy axles, metal wheel hexes, certified Angus center drive shaft. And usually this little plug right here would be for lights that goes on the body shell, but this one does not have any. So you could always take this 2996A shell, plop it on there, but you would have to drill your own body holes. But hey, at least you'd have some lights. You got that handy side button here, and since you got that, you don't have to reach your hand up here searching and guessing where that on-off switch is until a spider gets you. Oh. Oh yeah! Can't backflip. Oh!
Right there, look, watch out.
All right, speed test time. Oops. .1 miles per hour.
Stop.
Oops. Nice, dude. Oop. That was really neat. Okay, so there's nothing like really special about this car. It's okay. I mean, it's really good for the money. It's certainly a fun, great car, but it's nothing. Well, I take that back. It's an HBX, and HBX makes really good cars. So for the money, it's better than what you get in similar price points from other brands, in my opinion. You know, I mean, that took quite a bit of abuse out there, and nothing's broken, I don't think. We're gonna look under the shell in a second. And believe me, it's fun and all. It just didn't give me that extra sense of wowness. The 901A was pretty much exactly the same as this with different tires and a different body. I feel like they could have improved some stuff. They could have used probably better fluid in the shocks because it's still pretty bouncy when it hits the jumps and stuff. Maybe one day they'll start gluing these lights in because they always pop out. All you got to do is push them back in there. They pop out really easily. They should have put a little bit of glue. So that's something you can do. And it's even the exact same ESC that the 903 had, and looks like probably the same motor as well. Now that poor 901A I ended up using as a parts car once I knew I was going to be getting this one. And I put those parts onto this little project car that I made, which is pretty much a Frankenstein build of a bunch of different other HBXs all in one. And it turned out awesome. So those electronics work really well in this car because it's smaller and it's geared differently. That was a really fun project. You can check it out here if you want to. The tires also don't have very good traction, so it loses control under full throttle pretty easily. And while I usually recommend putting slightly larger, maybe better tires on it, like I did with this guy, this doesn't have a center differential or a slipper clutch, so you are very prone to differential damage. The differentials are one of the weak points that I was talking about earlier. I have broken a few front differentials in this model of car, the 901A. I didn't break anything today, but I don't really feel like anything changed. I mean, all the parts look exactly the same. I've also broken axle stubs, mostly in the rear, but I have broken a few in the front also. Just where the stub that the wheel nut screws onto breaks off and your wheel falls off. I did break the chassis in half on the 901A once as well. Actually, my son Max did that, but he did it by jumping off one ramp, going for a transfer, and landing on the other one just like that. And that's definitely a chassis snapping maneuver, so that's the only time it ever happened. I wouldn't blame the car for that. So the biggest thing with these HBXs that people are constantly complaining about is the size of the battery tray. That little 1600 milliamp battery that it comes with is pretty much the biggest one you can fit. You can do a little bit of tweaking to get some bigger batteries in, but ultimately I would love HBX to try to change something on their 12th scale platforms to make bigger batteries fit. You know, for these little 14th and 16th scales, that's not too bad, but when it comes to a 12th scale, a little bit more runtime would be preferred. Now with that being said, we still got about 15 minutes out of this battery, which really isn't bad. It's pretty average actually. So it's not even really about the runtime. It's just about having battery options, better performing ones. And they put that same battery in most of their cars, and I've really had no problems with them. But if you do want to get new batteries, it'd be nice to be able to get them from anywhere. So definitely not bad for the money. I do recommend this car. My biggest upset here is that they really didn't improve anything over the previous models. I would have rather seen something like a 903 Max, or, you know, just make something up. Oh, probably shouldn't use that name. 903 Ultra. I don't know really what that would entail, but it's the exact same car with a different body and different wheels. So again, yeah, I mean, I recommend it. It's good for the money. It's just not any different. You could get the 901A and it's pretty much the same. The body does have a little bit of damage right there in the corner of the rear, but other than that, nothing's broken. I mean, I guess the only thing I could recommend would be putting some slightly thicker fluid in the shocks. Definitely took a few fumbles, and crashes, and it withstood it. Typical HBX durability. That's the best thing about these cars, is they do use quality materials. I've got a lot of different HBX cars. They're definitely my favorite budget brand. I am now working on a video comparing these two monsters, which is arguably one of my biggest questions that I get, and we're going to be comparing these two, the new 903 and the HBX 2996A, in an upcoming video. These are not the stock tires that come on this. This is slightly more expensive than this one. And is that extra expense worth it? Stay tuned for these videos. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, like, all that stuff. See you soon.